Unit testing in C#. Unit testing is the process of testing that the code you write meets some requirements or functionality. There are two paradigms regarding testing. With larger systems and developer teams, a company could employ test-driven development, where tests are written before the actual coding starts. This way, developers can write code to satisfy the tests. With smaller projects or team, tests can be written after the initial coding and used to verify that any future changes still adhere to the test conditions. Either way, there are three major test frameworks you could use. XUnit is the more modern and popular framework, while NUnit has been around for a while, and MS Test is the standard built-in framework that come with Visual Studio. In this tutorial, we'll be using XUnit. We'll use a simple console app to demonstrate how to implement unit testing. The application itself won't really do anything. We're more interested in testing. So we added a class called Calculator we can test. This class has two simple methods. One to add two integers and another to divide two integers. The divide method will throw an exception if the divisor is 0. With that setup, we can add a unit testing project to our solution. Right-click the solution and add a new project. Make sure you select the XUnit test project template. As a convention, give it the same name as the project you're going to test, followed by .test. If you look at the installed packages for this template, you'll see it automatically installed the two XUnit packages we need. There's also an empty unit test class created called Unit Test 1. But before we can start testing our main project, we need a reference to it. Right-click Dependencies in your test project and select Add Project Reference. In the dialog, tick the project you're going to test. We'll rename the Unit Test 1 class to something meaningful like Calculator Test, since we're going to test our Calculator class of the main project. Next, we'll add some test methods to test the methods in the Calculator class. All test methods are decorated on top with either fact or theory. We'll discuss theory in a moment, but for now, fact means that this method will test a fact about a method in the Calculator class. As a good practice, every test method should only test one thing. The name of the test method should reflect what it's testing. In the first case here, we're going to test the add method, and it should return a sum if the input values are valid. Now, inside the method, all test methods follow the AAA pattern: arrange, act, and assert. The arrange part is where we set up what is going to be tested. Here we instantiated a calculator object. The act part is the action we are testing. We're testing the add method in the calculator class. Finally, the assert method will check if the result from the action was valid. Here we check that the result is equal to 5, the sum of 2 and 3. For the divide method, we write a test method to check that it actually throws a divide by 0 exception if the divisor is 0. Again, in the arrange part, we set up a calculator object. But now when testing for an exception, we combine the act and assert part. We check that the correct exception is thrown when we call the divide method. With the two tests created, let's run them and see what happens. Go to Test from the top menu and select Test Explorer. If we expand the tests, we'll see the two test method we created. Click the Run All Tests button at the top. If the tests pass, they'll be ticked with a green marker, and our outcome will show that 2 tests have passed. Now suppose sometime later, we're making changes to our calculator class, and we accidentally change the add operator in the add method to a multiplication operator. This is what tests are for, to check if our methods are still doing what they were designed to do after making changes. Back in the Test Explorer, we can either run all tests again, or simply select the test that applies to the method we've changed and run just that test. Now our test fails, and it tells us that the test method expected a 5, but our add method in the calculator class actually returned a 6. Back in the calculator class, the IDE will indicate for us that this method failed its tests. Right, so now let's take a look at what a theory test method does. Theory allows us to pass multiple test data to the test method. Here, we're going to pass 3 inline data arguments to our test method, effectively running the test 3 times. The test method now has 3 parameters to accept the test values. The method itself is the same as the first add test. Create a calculator class, run the add method, and check that the result is equal to what was expected. In the Test Explorer, we see our new theory test method. Notice the 3 next to it that indicates the 3 tests it's going to perform. After fixing the addition operator in our calculator class, we can run this test, and the outcome should show 3 passed. Now that we've got the basics of unit testing, let's look at some common assert methods you may encounter. There's the equal and not equal asserts that checks the equality of 2 values. The true and false assert. This, for example, you could use to check if a result is within a certain range. The null or not null assert, if you, for example, want to check that a method returns a null under certain conditions. The same and not same assert is a little trickier. It checks if an object that is being referenced is the same as the expected object it should reference. Then there's the empty and not empty assert to check if a list or collection type is empty. And of course, the throw assert we've seen. This checks that under certain conditions, a method will throw the correct exception. While writing tests, you may come across the situation where you need to test a class that is dependent on another class. For example, take our calculator class. Suppose we create an interface for it and inject it into another class that consumes the calculator's methods. When we want to test the class that uses the calculator class, we don't want to instantiate the useCalculator class with a real actual calculator interface. If we do that, we're testing the behavior of the calculator class as well. To solve this issue, we use mocking. Mocking can create a sort of fake version of the dependency. This ensures isolation. We're sure we're only testing the class and not the behavior of its dependencies. It's more predictable. We can set up how we expect the dependent class to behave. You're avoiding any additional strong couplings contained in the dependent class. Also, the actual dependent class may have some long-running data access processes that is not part of your intended test. Then, you should consider refactoring safety. If you use an actual dependent class, refactor it and make changes to the consuming class, the test may not reflect this change. Let's first create a dependency injection scenario in our main project. We'll add an interface class for our calculator class. Then make sure our calculator class inherits from this interface. In the interface class, we add the signatures of the 2 methods we want to expose from our calculator class. Then, of course, we need a class to inject the calculator into. We create a useCalculator class and inject the calculator interface into it. We added an add and divide method to use the calculator objects methods. The most popular tool to use for mocking is mock. Install the mock NuGet package into your test project. Then we added a new test class specifically for testing the new useCalculator class with its injected property. We're going to test the perform addition method. We only want to test the useCalculator class, not the calculator object. So we use mock to create an instance of the calculator interface. Then we set up the method of the interface that will be used in the perform addition method. With that in place, we can now create a useCalculator object and inject the mocked calculator interface into it. The act and assert parts remain the same and behaves as though it's working with a useCalculator class with an actual injected calculator object. In the Test Explorer, we select our new test method and run it. Something else to look at is how do we test asynchronous methods. To demonstrate this, we'll change our divide method in the calculator class to an asynchronous method and add another multiply asynchronous method. Both methods use a delay task to simulate some asynchronous work. Back in our test class, we need to change the test method's return type to async task. And in the act part, we await the calculator's asynchronous method. We do the same for the divide method test. Change its return type to async task, but this time we await the asynchronous version of the assert throws method. We return the exception only if you also need to check the exception message. Then in the Test Explorer, we can run all the calculator's tests. And popular alternative to using XUnit's assert methods is Fluent Assertion. Basically, Fluent Assertion performs the same function, but in a way that makes assertion easier to read. Instead of writing several lines of assertions, Fluent allows you to connect multiple assertions in one line. Let's look at a demonstration. First, install the Fluent Assertions NuGet package into your test project. We'll add a new class called Fluent Test that uses the Fluent Assertions package. For demo purposes, our first test method will do some assertions on 3 values: a string, a list of numbers, and a person object. In the assert part of our test, we'll start with the string. We add .should to the string value. Then our first assertion is not be null or empty. We connect another assertion with dot and dot. You don't need to use the dot and dot. It's simply there for reading purposes. Now we connect start with and end with and contain assertions. When you read this entire line, it should have a natural flow to it. String should not be null or empty and start with hello and end with fluent assertions and contain fluent. Let's look at the number list example. The list numbers should have a count of 5 and contain, in order, the items 1, 2, 3, and only have unique items. For the person object, we first say the person object should not be null. Then the person's name should be John. Also, the person's age should be greater than 20 and be less than 40. Notice how the code has a natural sound. Let's see how we would change the assertion for our calculator add method to Fluent Assertion. We simply say the result should be the expected value. To test for the exception in the asynchronous divide method, we first need to get the result from awaiting the method. Then in the assert part, we need to use await again and say the act result should throw asynchronously the divide by 0 exception with the message denominator cannot be 0. Let's see if this works. In the Test Explorer, we find our new Fluent test. We can select and run it. Thank you for watching our video. For more tutorials on C#, hit subscribe and click the reminder. Give us a like so the video can be visible to more people.